Okay, guys, so I do have a little bit of tea to spill. Now, this is between Gypsy Rose and her old friend from prison and a friend of mine named Rachel Garlick. I'm pretty sure you guys know who she is. They recently had a back and forth going on Messenger, and Rachel's been releasing some of the content lately, and I'm going to do a reading through it and show you guys what they've been talking about and just basically reveal just sort of the dynamics between the two of them. And I do want to note that I might have a little bit of bias because Rachel is a friend of mine, both on, online and on Facebook, what have you. I've known her for quite some time. I've known her husband. I've known her family. She's a great person. She's somebody that Gypsy was friends with in prison. They called themselves soul sisters. They have like a matching tattoo. And also she used to do her social media for her. So she was like one of Gypsy's like first major supporters until she saw who Gypsy really was. So I just want to let you know that this is somebody that has come around and seen the light and has, ever since then basically become, somebody like the rest of us that's just trying to get the truth about the matter, wants justice for Nick, wants justice for Dee Dee, and is basically on the side of the truth. So I just want to let you know that Rachel is a good one, and you can actually see through a lot of this correspondence, it's sort of like where the dynamics ended up and where it used to be. So I'm going to show you what it is, and we're going to talk about it. So here's the first part of it, and it's actually Gypsy reaching out to Rachel. So here's Gypsy's message to Rachel, and this is on July 22nd, so not that long ago, about a little less than a month ago. It's sad that after all these years, all I ever was to you and still am is dollar signs and clouds, and that is why I ended our friendship years ago. I hope with this knowledge you can reflect and see that. Now, imagine somebody like Gypsy Rose Blanchard telling someone else to reflect on decisions or reflect on something at all when Gypsy herself has no self-awareness and has yet to reflect on her own crime and on her own crime and decisions that she still makes very poorly, I might say. But anyways, moving on. And now this is Rachel's response to Gypsy's message. And she says, I have no idea what you are talking about. I don't make money off that stupid app, meaning TikTok. I hardly even post. That's just your response to everything you are blind to. The only thing I reflect on is how terrible you have become. Good one, Rachel. Bam! Right where it hurts. Why and how did you become such an evil person when you used to be so kind-hearted? Rachel, nothing against you, but I think that kind-hearted thing was just kind of an act, That thing called the act that we all know about. Just saying. You advocate for bullying, or anti-cyberbullying, whatever you want to call it, and you are literally the biggest bully I've ever seen. All you have to do is see what you are doing, apologize, and nobody would treat you this way. I'm inclined to agree. If Gypsy had some self-awareness, took actual accountability, stopped villainizing Nick, stopped villainizing your deceased mother and everybody else that you have affected, their lives, forever, basically. People would treat you a lot differently. But Gypsy herself continues to put herself down into, digging herself a hole deeper and deeper, especially when she has people like Bree and other people speaking on her behalf just to make her look worse. So, again, a lot of this is self-inflicted on Gypsy's part. That's why she has no sympathy for me. So, where were we here? You are truly a horrible person now. I think she kind of always was, Rachel, but, it took you a while to see it. Hey, at least you came around eventually, right? Gypsy, and until you see that, your life will be defending yourself. I mean, not really. I mean, you want to know what? Like, Gypsy could have done what Casey Anthony did. Casey Anthony came onto TikTok and was like, hey, I'm going to be working in the legal field. And she had an overwhelming, response of like, Casey, no. Nobody wants you here. Skedaddle. And guess what she did? She upped and left. She took the hint. She took the social cues and didn't go where she wasn't wanted. She could have done that. At least, believe me, I give no credit to Casey Anthony for anything. But at least she had the wherewithal to know that, I'm not wanted here. I should probably go. And I think Gypsy needs to take that same cue if she wants the private life that she, talks about so very often. Just saying. I refuse interviews with tons of platforms, so you are effing wrong. I have way more, and it keeps going. So basically, Rachel's defending herself as far as saying, like, Gypsy's accusing her of using her for clout. And I do know for a fact, and not just through knowing Rachel myself, but for the fact that, Rachel, has been offered many opportunities to participate in documentaries, a Lifetime series called Cellmate Secret. She was offered a lot of stuff with the media for money, and she has children, including one with that's developmentally disabled. She could have used that money, and she still wasn't willing to sell her soul. So I give some props to Rachel for sticking to her integrity and not just dismissing it for money. So Rachel gets some mad props from me, and that's not just because she's a friend of mine. That's just saying it like from the outside looking in, whether I knew her or not. So mad props to Rachel for that. Moving on. And this is Rachel continuing. I have way more S on you I haven't shared, so you better check yourself talking to me like that. I'm praying for your self-reflection. You can give her all the prayer in the world, Rachel. I don't think anything's gonna happen with her. I'm good over here. I literally told you on the phone I didn't want cameras in my face, so your accusations are ridiculous. And I guess she has some kind of transaction receipts there for something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there's some receipts there. I don't know the context on it. I could probably ask her myself, but for the meantime, I'm just going to leave it as is, and we'll just keep going and see what else it says. The screenshot's a little bit scattered, but I'm going to try to read this to the best of my ability, and this is Gypsy's response to what Rachel just said in the last previous statements. All I've ever done that is borderlining bullying, and it's not even bullying whenever it's two exes going at each other back and forth on social media, was to Ryan, a man who, when I first introduced you to, you called him fat and ugly. Okay, so I guess she's justifying everything that Gypsy did to Ryan, including outing his medical information, because Rachel said something about his looks back in the day. I guess that makes it okay. I don't know, Gypsy logic for you. Do with it what you will. Do you remember that? Because I'm pretty sure it was in an email, and as you know, every single email that was ever sent to me or from me is coming out. Yeah, but what does what she said about Ryan have to do with any of this? Like, when did Rachel in any of in this correspondence champion Ryan? Again, I think she's just deflecting to justify her own, abhorrent actions. Again, just I think that's one of the tactics that she learned from Bree, or that Bree learned from her. Because again, it's like more of that deflection stuff to justify something else. We've seen this tactic in that whole camp. Wait till they get to yours if they haven't already. And then you went on to tell everybody that he got fired for being inappropriate with a student, and other than my ex-husband, again, who you something have bullied in the last, you even used to put up pictures of him calling him something. So this is just her saying that once upon a time you said bad stuff about Ryan, therefore everything I'm doing is justified. Again, Gypsy logic. Moving on. Now, I guess Gypsy is continuing, but going on to something else. If Nimi, I guess that's one of Rachel's kids, was on that billboard, you say you never wanted to be in front of cameras, but when I called you to invite you to my release party, you told me, quote, I gotta clean my house to get ready for the camera crew. So you may not have wanted interviews, but you wanted to be on my show. Like I said, and I'll say it again, I know what real friendship is, and you were never a real friend. Gypsy, how many people have you befriended and then discarded when they were no longer useful to you? I think it goes, the numbers go pretty high. But just saying, there's someone that's sitting in prison for life right now that could tell a thing or two about that, but that's for another day. Go back to peddling with shreds of an old friendship you had with me is left. I'm so glad I didn't give you my underwear that you wanted me to give you so you could sell it on the internet when I was still in prison and we were actually friends. No, I'm gonna have to go out on a limb and say I'm gonna take that with a big grain of salt, because again, like, knowing Rachel, at least to the extent that I do, which is, pretty casually. But I've had, many talks with her about, the case, life in general, her family. I know she was like going through a crisis, trying to get her son into camp recently, and a lot of us got together and tried to, and helped her, made sure that her son Jojo got into camp. But yeah, I can't picture Rachel personally saying, "Hey, Gypsy, let's sell your underwear on eBay or something like that." It's like why not? Maybe I could see her saying like maybe some artwork or a picture or an autograph. I mean, I don't know, but it's like the first, or maybe I don't know. That's just weird to say like, "Oh, let's sell your underwear." I could see her maybe saying something like that as a joke, but to actually seriously put her underwear on the internet to sell, yeah, there's some pretty perverted guys out there, and someone might actually buy it. But as sad as that sounds, but I can't picture Rachel coming up with that idea other than it being maybe a joke. So, you know what? I'm going to put Gypsy's accusations off to the side for now. Because, again, I take everything that woman says with a big grain of salt. So, nice accusation, Gypsy, but knowing your reputation and your honesty problems, I'm going to have to go and put a lot of skepticism into this. So, sorry to say. Anyways, moving on. You post every single message I've ever written with you, so that with that being said, Rachel, owe you nothing. I owe everyone else nothing. What I owe myself and the family I've created is everything. Have a nice life. And that's kind of some broken English from Gypsy, but I guess that's the end of whatever she was saying. And then Rachel comes back with, I didn't ask you for your underwear. And I'm going to go on another limb and say I believe Rachel when she says she didn't ask for her underwear, because I think that's absurd. And I don't see why that would, I don't know, sell on the internet. Again, unless it's like some kind of perversion, selling yourself. I don't know. I have no words for that. I don't even want the visual. Anyways, I don't even know how to get on the something web. LOL, I said, a guy said you could probably do that. Okay, so I could see it like as a joke. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go ahead and side with Rachel on this. I could see her saying that as like maybe as a joke, but not seriously. But I could see Gypsy twisting it into something serious. So you know what? I'm going to, if I had to take an educated guess based on intuition and some common sense, I'm going to say the joke angle is probably the correct one. Yes, I'm going to post it because you continuously show what a terrible person you are. By the way, my exact words were, I don't want cameras in my life because, and she probably states a valid reason. But I can't read it, I can't see it. So, yep. Anyways, that's the end of that little correspondence. Moving on. And this is back to Rachel responding to Gypsy. I don't want cameras in my life because I'm not cleaning my house, then laughed. You can twist my words all you want. I just called that. I said I could see Gypsy twisting her words, and again, I didn't read this in advance, so you know what I mean? Like, things that I'm suspecting seem to be being validated here and vindicated. You can twist my words all you want. I don't give an F. You have never even said thank you for everything I did for you. And Rachel did a lot. She defended her very strongly, and also did her social media and all of her TikTok stuff, all of her social media stuff. She championed Gypsy Rose and actually believed, everything about Gypsy's story in the initial beginnings, until she did something called get to know somebody and see who they really are. And then she came to her senses. Unlike some of the other people in Gypsy's life that just double, triple, quadruple down on these false narratives, because I think they're just too far gone. They've invested way too long into Gypsy's, BS narratives that they can't walk back from it now because of how foolish and stupid they would look. But, it's just like they choose to stick with her. So I guess, whatever that costs them. I know it's cost Brie at least 50, 60 plus TikTok profiles, friends, associates, jobs. I've heard all kinds of stuff that she's lost just from being friends with Gypsy Rose. And, she's just got an awful personality altogether. So, again, a lot of, and I've heard her cry victim on many people's live streams. So it's like, again, a lot of her problems are very self-inflicted from the research that I've done. I have, again, especially after speaking to Brie myself, no sympathy for her. None. I don't hate her. I've always said. It's like I even thanked her for coming on my live, even though she did nothing but call me names and try to manipulate the entire conversation. But I still gave her thanks for coming on, just because, even though she tried to create a bunch of rules for my own live. But I wasn't going for that. But again, I don't hate her. I don't hate anyone. I mean, at the end of the day, Bree didn't unalive her mom. Gypsy did. Bree supports Gypsy for doing that, but she says she doesn't, but in the end, she really does. Basically, she'll either say, well, it was Nick's fault, or Dee Dee deserved it, or both. So again, it's just nothing but excuses, repeating Gypsy's excuses, and Anyways, I don't want to talk about that person. Okay, where were we? Do you not remember that I turned down doing Cellmate Secrets by Lifetime? I'm familiar with that show. Because I didn't want to make money off you, and I know they would twist the narrative to make you look bad. So stop acting like you are so damn special. I'd rather be struggling than constantly lie to people like you. And yes, I said Ryan wasn't attractive. Ain't even gonna lie. I thought you deserved better, but now I think you deserve everything you get. It's speak my piece and call you at when I know you are. So I get what she's saying here. But again, I don't know where Ryan came into this conversation. Gypsy just kind of brought him up out of nowhere and deflected. So again, it's the same tactics I've seen with Bree and everybody else. It's just like deflect, talk about something else, confuse, twist. There's a lot of elements to their manipulation skills, except it's so transparent. You can see right through it. So it doesn't surprise people like me. Anyone with half a brain can see through Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and that's why majority of the people that have dealt with that have even looked into her story are just like, something seems kind of off. And the people that still support her have only seen the mainstream media narratives and haven't actually even looked into her case, beyond that. So you have the people that are very low informed, which are the people that watch media only or have only watched the act. And then you have people like Bree and her closest associates that are trying to make a name for themselves by proxy through Gypsy vicariously. So, there's that. I think Bree and the rest of them are in this for themselves. And, Gypsy is giving them the clout, even though they accuse everybody else of trying to get the clout through Gypsy. No, the rest of us are just trying to get the truth out there. They're just trying to hang around her for the attention. So, you know what I mean? I'm just calling it like I see it. Anyways, moving on. And this continues with Rachel's response. You're the person who needs serious help. Get over yourself. Gypsy, you sold yourself to the devil for likes. Kissed face. I love a little facetiousness when it comes to stuff like this. Wow, they were talking pretty late at night. 4:53 a.m. Whew. You guys were arguing early in the morning. And then she basically forwards one of Tiffany's videos when she was doing the content creator impressions. I'm still hurt that I didn't get an impression yet. Don't do things for people to do this to you. Nobody does it to those who's in the wrong here, Gypsy. And I'm inclined to agree with that. Anyways, continuing on. And Gypsy responds down here. I deleted my 9.4 million follower TikTok. I don't buy that. I think she just deactivated it again, like she's done in the past, because it gives you up to 30 days to retrieve it. So I'm not putting too much stock into believing that she actually completely deleted it. I think it's going to reappear in some form or fashion at some point in the next 30 days or so, maybe a little bit less than that. So unless I see more than 30 days go by and I don't see that profile, or she privatized it somewhere, I don't know. Either way, I have a hard time believing she would let following like that just go bye-bye. I mean, maybe she will, because I think she can't be monetized anymore, and it's just like, whether it's you have 9 followers or 9.4 million followers, kind of doesn't make a difference because you can't monetize it. So it's basically worthless. You can have 9.4 million anything, and if you can't, again, if she can't grift off it, she's not interested. So maybe she did delete it. Who knows? and went private. No, she didn't go private. Again, she's still releasing stuff just by proxy through her friends. I think lately it's been Sheena with the content creator impressions, which again, that's not even been like the worst of her content. Some of that actually gave me a chuckle, so I'm not even going to go off and say that that's like the worst things that she's done. You know what I mean? I've seen her do way worse, and it's just like if some content creator impressions is the only thing, it's like, I'd rather have her stick with something like that than the stuff I've seen her do previously. As private as you people will allow me. Wait a second. I think your privacy is up to you. I mean, again, I'll point it out again. Remember Casey Anthony? She just took off when no one wanted her on the platform. I mean, she hasn't been seen since. She hasn't made any statements through anybody else. I mean, it's not up to us on how private you go. You can just you could delete the app and just, be done with it. We can't force anything else or force you to do something or participate in something. You can easily disappear off the internet. It's you that can't seem to do it. But again, it's our fault. Remember, guys, it's our fault. It's not hers. We have to allow her to do it. We have to stop making content in order for her to stop clapping back. We're forcing her to do it, everybody. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. Don't you get it? It's our fault. Again, zero accountability. Okay. Let's see. Where were we? Don't think that sounds like someone who wants to get likes and views. If you have to go around telling people you don't want likes and views, you want likes and views. Sorry. If you have to go around saying it, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what you want. Just saying. It's like one of those little reverse psychology things. Okay, just saying. And as far as advocating, I can advocate without posting it. Yeah, but you had the chance with a 9-point-something million platform to show that you are being an advocate. Why didn't you do it when it could have the most impact? Now you're going to do it when no one can see it? Again, Gypsy logic. I'll just never get it. Okay, what's it going to do in private for you? You had a public spotlight that you could have made very good use of and chose not to. Instead, you decided to do stupid stuff with it, like get wasted and crash out in front of billboards and record yourself with dung on your arm that Aurora put there. It's just like, I don't know, Gypsy, if you wanted to be an advocate, you had ample time to do that. You said you were going to do it. It's like Bree and all of her friends say, oh, all you guys wanted her, forced her to be an advocate. No, she herself said she was going to come out and do this. She was putting herself on a soapbox saying that she wanted to be this advocate, and she didn't do any such thing. In fact, the only thing I saw her do was dunk on a whole bunch of her cellmates on a TV show that she was watching. She's like, oh, I didn't know this person, but she was like this, and I didn't know this person, but she was stuck up, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've seen her do nothing but the opposite. And then whenever she gets the backlash, she's like, okay, I need to go on this anti-cyberbullying crusade. Once again, Gypsy logic. It makes no sense. Okay. Where were we? Okay. It is possible to do something kind for people and not scream, hey, I helped this person. Yeah, but I'm going to give another example of how she could have done this. And it's not exactly screaming it, but it would have at least been something impactful that showed that she cared. When she was just selling those items recently on Facebook Marketplace for like retail price, this is stuff that was gifted to her for free. All the baby items, the bassinet, the wagon, all the stuff that she was putting on Facebook Marketplace, all that stuff was gifted to her for free. She could have passed that down to the next, new set of parents that needed the help, or a single mom out there, somebody else that she could have paid it forward. It's like, hey, this stuff was donated to me. I don't need it anymore, so now I'm going to donate it to somebody else that could use the same help. But no, she was trying to monetize the situation. She was trying to grift and, make money off the situation. It had nothing to do with wanting to help or advocate for anybody. Again, she had a perfect opportunity right there. And again, unless it had something to do with money, she wanted nothing to do with it. Because that's all I've seen so far, as far as anything goes with, what did she just do with her platform last time? Recently, she tried making some art business, and tried to, turn it into money. It's like there's nothing that she's advocating for. There's no one that she's trying to help with out of kindness. And it's just like, basically she wants us to believe, like, yeah, even though I've been basically broadcasting everything I do, I'm going to do kindness, but I'm not going to show any of it, even though I've been showing everything up until this point. So you're going to think that we're going to believe that suddenly you're just going to do things behind the scenes? All this kindness that you said you were going to do before, you're just going to do it behind the scenes without any of us seeing it now? Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say, nope, I don't think that's happening. Because you were broadcasting your entire life and every move you're making, and not one bit of that showed that you were trying to advocate for anybody or do anything out of kindness. Just saying. So I'm going to go by, recent history and overall history. And so far, grifts, wanting to make money, no advocacy for anything, unless it benefits yourself. Okay. Not that you would understand that. Okay, so basically that's the end of that. But again, it's just, when reading Gypsy's responses, it's just like, again, the self-awareness is just so out of touch. It's just almost hard to read sometimes. It's like, did she really write this? It's like, how did she sit there and actually honestly write this? And she had to know this was going to get out. She has to know that the things that she writes, especially to people that she knows that are involved in the anti-Gyp community, that this was going to get out. So again, it's just like every single time this woman talks or puts anything out, it just makes her look worse. And Gypsy has successfully done that once again. And that's about it. I know that there's a lot more that Rachel has told me that she has between correspondences between her and Gypsy that she's going to be releasing. But so far, this is what she's released so far in her own profile. I'm just doing a reading and just sort of a reaction for you guys. And again, she's going to keep me posted. She told me she's going to keep me posted on anything else that she has. She has plenty more, she says. And when she releases it, because I want her to be able to release it on her own terms, and then when she does, I'll react to it. Like I said, me and her are friends. I can contact her anytime and get her permission if she wants me to do something specific for something like this, like do a live. Me and her have gone live together before, so maybe I can get her to come on live and answer some questions for you guys, something regarding this. But regardless, this is a pretty recent correspondence, not even a month ago, and yeah, it's pretty revealing. And again, it shows like that Gypsy, again, has learned nothing. She's essentially just getting further from reality, and everything she says just flies in the face of hypocrisy, or she's just making claims that are not true, or just deflects to something else, stuff we've all seen before. So I'm not surprised. But what do you guys think about this correspondence? Let's talk about it in the comments, and also add Rachel Garlic is her name. I'm going to tag her in the comments, and be sure you can add her and ask her any questions. I'm sure she'll answer them. All right, you guys, talk to you soon. Leave it in the comments and let's talk.